This is a simulated scenario created for educational purposes to help you recognize and avoid scams. He thought he was about to spend the night with the most beautiful woman he'd ever met. But 12 hours later, he woke up in a freezing cold room with a surgical mark across his side and only part of his health left. This isn't a movie. This is happening in real life. And the scariest part is, most victims don't realize they're being hunted from the very first moment. His name was Daniel, 32 years old, a software engineer living alone in Tokyo. Not stupid, not broke, not uneducated, just lonely. Daniel had just gotten out of a 6-year relationship. During the day, he wrote code. At night, he scrolled through dating apps. Then, one Friday night, he matched with a girl named Miki. The weird part was, she messaged him first, and just 3 minutes later, she said exactly what Daniel had been dying to hear. "I hate fake guys. I just want someone real." That was the moment the trap closed. Not with violence, but with dopamine. She's too perfect. Over the next 3 days, Daniel became almost addicted to talking to Mika. She was insanely smart. She didn't text too much, wasn't clingy, never asked for money. And that's exactly why Daniel let his guard down. Mika knew precisely how to make a man believe. This time, it's real. She remembered every tiny detail. His favorite whiskey, the name of his childhood dog, even the insomnia he'd been dealing with after the breakup. Every time Daniel opened his phone, his brain got another hit of dopamine. Like a casino, like gambling addiction, but worse. Because this time, the reward was feeling loved. The invitation. On the 4th night, Mika sent him the address to an upscale lounge bar. "I'm tired of texting. Let's meet." That was mistake number 1. The moment a man starts imagining a future, he stops seeing danger. The bar sat on a luxury street in Bangkok. Red neon lights, soft bass vibrating through the room, the scent of perfume mixed with strong liquor. And then, she walked in. She looked even better than her photos. That was the last moment Daniel still had control of the situation. Just one drink. Everything felt completely normal. Almost terrifyingly normal. They laughed, clinked glasses, shared personal stories. Mika constantly made him feel safe. Not too aggressive, not overly seductive. No obvious red flags. Professional, like a psychological operative. Then she smiled and said, "My place is nearby. Want to keep the night going?" Daniel agreed instantly, without thinking. At that moment, inside Daniel's head, he thought he was the luckiest guy in the city. What he didn't know was, at least 3 other people were tracking that taxi the entire time. The drug. The apartment was incredibly clean. Too clean. No family photos. No signs that anyone actually lived there. Just the smell of essential oils and warm yellow lighting. Mika stepped into the dressing room. Daniel took a sip of his drink. Then another. 5 minutes later, disorientation set in. Sound stretched unnaturally. Lights blurred into streaks. His heartbeat started pounding out of control. Daniel tried to stand up, but his physical balance was gone. And then he saw the most terrifying thing yet. The apartment door opened. 2 men walked in, both wearing clinical attire. Daniel tried to say something, but no sound came out. The last thing he saw before blacking out was Mika leaning down beside him, whispering into his ear, "I am sorry, but you're worth a lot of money." Waking up, black screen, silence. Then, beep, beep. Daniel opened his eyes. Harsh white lights blasted into his face. He tried to sit up and felt a horrifying pain in his side. When he lifted his shirt, he saw the medical trauma. Long, freshly treated. His phone, wallet, watch, gone. But the worst thing missing wasn't the money. It was a part of his body. The reveal. This was never a date. It was a hunt. Daniel never randomly met Mika. He was selected. These organizations usually target men traveling alone, people fresh out of breakups, people who post signs of wealth online, lonely people, men who crave admiration. And the scariest part is, they don't start with violence. They start with a feeling. Finally, someone understands me. In the art of war, there's a terrifying strategy called hide a dagger behind a smile. Act warm, act friendly, while hiding the blade the entire time. That's exactly how these operations work. They don't make victims feel afraid. They make victims feel safe. The smile, the eye contact, the soft voice, the caring messages. It's all psychological anesthesia. The moment humans feel emotionally connected, the brain automatically lowers its defenses. At that point, it's no longer logic. It's biology. Daniel didn't let his guard down because he was dumb. He let his guard down because his brain was manipulated perfectly. The truth behind it, many victims later discover. The girl used fake photos or deepfakes. The video calls were pre-recorded or AI-assisted. The apartment was a short-term Airbnb rental. The doctor was part of the trafficking ring. Some victims were even sold across borders. Even worse, some survivors never report the crime because they're ashamed, because they fear being mocked, because nobody wants to admit, I got manipulated just because I thought someone loved me. And that's exactly why this model keeps working. Not because the criminals are unstoppable, but because the victims stay silent. Breakdown: why the brain falls for the trap. Modern scams don't attack your wallet first. They attack your loneliness. Here's what most people don't understand. These criminal networks study human psychology harder than most marketers do. They know how a lonely person reacts, what someone fresh out of a divorce needs to hear, how a middle-aged man wants to feel, and they build the exact emotional illusion needed. Not too much, not too little. Phase 1, the dopamine hook. Every time Mika texted him, Daniel's brain released dopamine. The exact same mechanism behind Schultz machinists, TikTok, gambling, addictive digital content, social media scrolling. Every message became an unpredictable reward, and the brain became addicted to anticipation. That's why victims don't realize they're being manipulated. Because what they're addicted to isn't the girl, it's the feeling of being wanted. Phase 2, confirmation bias. The moment Daniel started believing Mika was a good person, his brain automatically filtered out danger signals. The human brain hates destroying hope. So once we want to believe something, we start searching for evidence to keep believing it. That's why intelligent people still get scammed. Not because they lack IQ, but because emotions override logic. Cross the sea under a hidden sky. Another strategy from the art of war. Hide danger inside familiarity. The dating app looked normal. The bar looked luxurious. The conversation felt natural. Everything seemed reasonable. And that normality was the perfect disguise. Modern criminals don't wear black hoodies holding knives anymore. They wear suits, use AI, study psychology, master manipulation, and know how to make victims walk willingly into the trap. But what makes this even more disturbing is the emotional deception trap, the oldest weapon that never disappeared. Throughout history, many empires didn't collapse because of war. They collapsed because emotions made them lower their guard. In Eastern military strategy, there's a famous tactic called the emotional deception trap, using beauty to destroy the enemy's defenses. And the terrifying thing is, this tactic never became outdated. It just evolved. Back then, these traps relied on beauty, seduction, emotion, desire. Today, they're amplified by AI filters, deepfakes, behavioral psychology, social media algorithms. What many men don't realize, these traps don't work because women are beautiful. They work because men believe a girl like that would never scam me. And that belief becomes the fatal blind spot. The stronger the attraction, the faster the brain's ability to detect danger collapses. Hormones, dopamine, fantasy, all working together until the victim opens the door willingly. The knife never comes from the front. Most of the time, it comes from the thing you most want to hold close. That's why so many victims later say, I felt like something was off, but I didn't want to ruin the moment. And the predators know that. They don't need to force you. They just need to make you walk willingly. The scariest version of the deception trap, that is when the beautiful woman isn't even real. An AI-generated face, a clone voice, a personality optimized by data. In other words, you're no longer being manipulated by a human being. You're being manipulated by a machine that knows exactly what makes you emotionally vulnerable. The most terrifying part, back then, scams needed entire teams of people. Today, one AI face filter, One deepfake video, one clone voice. That's already enough to create the perfect partner. You no longer know whether the person flirting with you is a real human being or a fabricated character designed for medical exploitation, blackmail you, or turn you into the next product for sale. Warning signs. 5 red flags you can't ignore. The profile is too perfect. This is the very first sign, and ironically, the one most people choose to ignore. Most scam profiles have the same pattern. Too attractive, too perfectly your type, too flawless. Real people have messy lives. Fake people don't. If someone online feels like they walked straight out of your fantasy, ask yourself, why is this person so interested in me specifically? The intimacy moves way too fast. There's a term for this: accelerated intimacy, artificially speeding up emotional connection. They make you feel like, we're so compatible. This is fate. I've never connected with someone like this before. But here's the problem. Normal people build trust over time. Predators build trust with dopamine. If someone makes you feel emotionally attached way too quickly, that's not chemistry. It could be manipulation. They always want to change locations. This is a massive red flag. They constantly try moving the victim somewhere else. From dating app, Telegram, bar, private apartment, hotel, private car, public space, isolated location. Why? Because the fewer cameras there are, the fewer witnesses, the easier it is for you to disappear. If someone you just met keeps pushing for rapid location changes, that's no longer romantic. That's tactical. The video call feels half real. A lot of victims think, well, we video called, so they must be real. Wrong. Today's AI can fake faces, sync lip movement, clone voices, manipulate eye contact in real time. And here's the dangerous part. The video calls are usually short, slightly laggy, dim lighting, never natural for very long. That's how they hide deepfake glitches. The feeling of being pulled in. This is the biggest sign of all, and almost nobody talks about it. If you notice yourself thinking about them constantly, having unusually intense emotional reactions, dropping your guard incredibly fast, ignoring red flags because you want to believe, then there's a good chance your brain is already being guided. Modern scams don't hack your phone first. They hack your emotions first. How to protect yourself. Don't let your brain go alone. Never meet in a private location the first time. This is survival level advice. No exceptions. If someone you just met says, come over to my place. My friend has a villa nearby. This other spot is more fun. Stop immediately. Normal people respect safety boundaries. Predators try to break those boundaries as fast as possible. The first meeting should always be a public place, lots of cameras, people nearby, your own transportation. Never drink something you didn't personally watch being made. Never leave your drink unattended. Never go along with something just because you feel awkward saying no. One awkward minute is better than a lifetime of regret. Always share your live location. A lot of victims disappear because nobody knows where they are. Before meeting a stranger, send at least one trusted person. The address, their profile, their photo, their license plate if possible. This isn't paranoia, it's survival strategy. In multiple real cases, live location sharing was the only reason police found victims before it was too late. Create a 10-minute pause. This is one of the most effective anti-manipulation techniques possible. When you feel too excited, too emotionally pulled in, too trusting, your brain is at its most vulnerable state. Force yourself to go to the bathroom, step outside for air, call a friend, review the red flags again. A lot of scams only succeed because victims never give their brains time to wake back up. The most important rule: if someone makes you feel everything feels way too perfect, then understand this. There's a chance they've practiced this hundreds of times already. You think you've met the right person. Meanwhile, to them, you're just the next target. The final twist, the scariest part, is that Mika might not even exist. After Daniel survived, the police tried tracking Mika down. No real identity, no fingerprints, no legitimate bank accounts. Even the face may have been AI generated, which means Daniel wasn't manipulated by a girl. He was manipulated by an industrialized hunting system. Back then, you feared strangers in dark alleys. Today, you should fear the people who understand your brain better than you do. One investigator once said, "Modern victims aren't dragged into darkness. They walk into it themselves because they think they're walking toward love." And then the narrator says, "Out there somewhere, there may already be thousands of Mikas. No sleep, no emotions, just systems learning how to gain your trust before turning you into the next product." There's one painful truth. Most victims never believe they could be scammed. Until the night, it's already too late. This video isn't just for you. It's for the lonely friend, the brother going through heartbreak, the family member traveling overseas alone, or anyone who believes, "That could never happen to me." If you made it this far, share this video with at least one person. One share might stop someone from getting into that fatal taxi. In the age of AI scams, they don't steal your wallet first. They steal your trust first. And sometimes, the last thing that disappears isn't just your money. Comment. Stay awake if you think the world needs to talk more about these new forms of manipulation. And subscribe to Anti-Scam AI, so the next time a new trap appears, you recognize it before it's too late.